Are you ready to go around the world? Sit back, relax, and buckle your seatbelt as we take off for an adventure. It's jet-lag free but filled full of fun and travel insights. The only thing you'll need to pack is a sense of humor. Time for the award-winning travel show, Around the World.
And welcome, Globetrotters and armchair travelers, to another edition of Around the World. I'm Arthur von Wiesenberger. The beautiful Martha Bull is in the co-pilot seat in our new jet plane. Smaller ever since. We're getting smaller and smaller. Soon we're just going to be in a single Messerschmitt.
a rickshaw.
Maybe a rickshaw. Well, we got some great places to go this week on Around the World. We're going to be taking you all over the globe. First stop, by bicycle. We're going to go up from Alaska all the way down to the Mexican border with Jerry Holl. He is a very inspirational writer. He's got this new book out called Downhills Don't Come Free.
And he's not a trained biker. That's what's amazing.
Yeah, you're going to find out
did it.
how you can just go out and do it. Like that Nike ad says, just do it. Right?
Did it.
Then Martha Bull just does it because she's going to take us to London. She just got back from England. I can still smell the bangers and mash. No, she didn't have that.
I was not near.
She wasn't
any
banging any mash. That's for sure.
No.
Later on, Gabriella Ribeiro of Explorateur Journeys is going to tell us a little bit about some of the exotic places you can go and book incredible trips, one-of-a-kind experiences. I mean, dinners with people you only read about.
Right.
And
then also these like super trips.
Short trips. If they only have 2 days, this is the gal to go to.
For you.
And if you got a little bit more than 2 days, we're going to take you down to a beautiful escape down in the southern part of Sardinia called Forte Village, which I would recommend any family, singles, couples, people
Everything.
with dogs. No, I don't know if you can bring a dog there, but you should be able to. We have a dog in the studio with us
We do.
today.
We have the studio dog.
Yeah, studio dog.
Her
Our
name's
mascot.
Polo.
Yeah, Polo. We got that and much, much more on this edition Around the World. But first, it's time for Travel News.
Travel news is brought to you by the internet website, atw.tv. atw.tv is the first place to go, even to visit the last place on Earth.
All right, and in the travel newsroom is Martha Bull with the latest in travel news.
This is a happy story. I love happy stories.
Me too.
Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Simba the French Bulldog is probably alive today because of the attentiveness of an Air Canada pilot.
Oh, hooray for Air
Simba,
Canada.
I hope we have video of Simba. I sent it in. Was flying via Air Canada from Tel Aviv to Toronto when the pilot noticed a problem with the cargo's heating system. And according to the report here, as soon as the crew became aware of the temperature issue, which meant the heat was dropping,
right,
and Simba could have probably frozen to death, the pilot apparently diverted the aircraft to Frankfurt. Like I said, they're on their way to before they started over the Atlantic, and they actually took Simba off the plane, took him out of cargo hold, put him on a different plane where it was safer, and so he's alive today because the pilot said, "I'm in charge of all lives on board." And so, I mean, this is a happy story compared to we've heard some horrendous stories.
We've heard the United Airlines disaster, which they settled recently out of court. Well, here's some good news.
Okay.
First of all, Martha,
is this the one I'm going to be mad at you about?
Maybe.
Okay.
How does she know I'm going to be naughty? Do you know what a nacation is?
A nacation?
Nacation.
Probably somebody naked on vacation.
Nay.
Nay, nay, nay.
Naked. You're right. Yeah, nay is naked as in nay. Have you ever heard of? You were in London.
Yeah.
Did you go to Bunyadi? Did you go to Bunyadi? Have you heard of Bunyadi, folks? Bunyadi is
It's you being naughty.
It's a restaurant where buns is the operative word. Bunyadi. Bun. Yeah, because it's a nudist restaurant. It's a restaurant you go into, and you have a change room. Obviously, you arrive clothed. You have a change room. You take all your clothes off. And then you go into the restaurant, which is all filled with people without clothes on, including the waiters and waitresses.
Why would you want to do that?
Would you like a sausage with your? Anyway, it's actually a vegan restaurant. It is a vegan restaurant.
I would think it'd be vegan like a Weight Watchers restaurant. Nobody wants to see that.
No, apparently the lights are very mellow. Everything is low intensity, and no bright spotlights on anything. It's supposed to be kind of.
Why don't you go and do a report and get back to me about that?
All right. Anyway, it's open until August 12th, and they're going to close and they're going to reopen somewhere else. But the good thing is,
so it's a pop-up.
She's made up funny. You leave your smartphones at home. You don't obviously bring any technology. It's kind of a new kind of way of enjoying life.
Would you go to that?
Oh, sure.
Would you really?
Yeah. It'd be fun. It might not be fun for the other viewers there, but it'd be fun for me. Anyway, naked travel is on the upswing. Hello. There are naked all-inclusive resorts, right? Like, and I'm not talking, they include everything except clothing. There are naked cruises.
Okay.
Right? I'm sure that the naked singles, there's a lot of cruising with that crowd. And there's even naked yoga retreats. Can you imagine downward dog? Get away from me on that mat. No, that's what I would do. Anyway, the good news is a naked vacation means not a very heavy suitcase.
That's a good
right?
point.
You think of that. In Jamaica, there's Hedonism 2. You've probably heard about the Hedonism 1. Hedonism 2 is a kind of the wild side of all-inclusives.
I actually saw that place. I think it was next to FDR. It was a family
Really?
place.
There was a family
and
place
literally,
next
if you went out on the little wharf that they had and looked over to the right, you saw a lot of people that shouldn't have been naked.
Right. Well, this particular one, I've talked to somebody who went to Hedonism 2, and he said, well, the first problem, I mean, it sounds great on the surface, but the reality is not what you think it is. For one thing, it's about mostly people from the East Coast, and at Hedonism 2, it's mostly guys.
Yeah.
And like 80% guys, and the 20% girls. I don't know. What happens is the guys all wait at the arrival desk to see who's coming next because there's such a shortage of women, and the women that arrive, I don't know. It doesn't sound like a fun time for me. But maybe that's the way you greet the new female arrivals. Anyone need a towel rack? Royal Caribbean has a real adventure for the nudist on board the Adventures of the Seas. These are chartered. They charter these big cruise ships, and you'll see a lot more than just the sea. They have all kinds of fun and games on board, including unclothed activities like body painting. It brings out the artist in you. How about the chicken fights in the pool, or ring tosses? Does that sound like fun? Anyway, you can find out more about nude. Just Google naked travel.
Yeah, I was wondering, how did you come up with that?
Actually, this was a story that appeared. It was inspired by a website called Oyster.com by Catherine Bevan, who did some research about that.
I would say.
Are you excited yet?
Speaking of yes, no.
Is it getting hot yet in here?
As in terms of research, apparently for the sixth year in a row, Singapore's Changi Airport has been named the world's best. It's an award by Skytrax. Right. Apparently.
Is that where Air Force One flew into?
I was wondering that. I bet.
Or did they fly in the military? I bet.
Well, there's also a Changi air base, so probably, I'm guessing. Yeah. Then Seoul, there's an airport near Seoul that came in second. Tokyo's third. Hong Kong fourth.
Tokyo Narita is third, huh?
And Tokyo Haneda.
Oh, Haneda. That's closer to town. If you ever have to fly to Japan and you're going to Tokyo, avoid Narita because it's like forever to get from Narita to Tokyo.
Yeah, right.
Haneda is right near downtown, it's close and
apparently good.
Yeah, and they have. You know what? I walked around Haneda Airport. They had all this fresh sea urchin.
Oh, nice.
And you could get it to go.
Oh my gosh.
For their flight, isn't that my idea of a good flight?
Yeah.
Who needs caviar?
Okay, so then Hong Kong, and then the
great airport, Hong Kong.
Yeah,
and Cathay Pacific, one of the great airlines. If you go to the Nipper VW channel, you can see a Cathay Pacific flight, including there's a wonderful little episode inside Cathay Pacific's lounges. And the lounges there, you can have a full meal. Mm-hmm. They have a champagne bar.
Wow.
And I'm talking about this is travel at its best. Yeah. You know.
We got to go to the.
What is the worst airports?
It didn't say the worst, but it.
Do anyone out there have any recommendations?
But can I tell you that there was only one in the top 30 that was from the U.S. and it was Denver's airport. And you know what kind of bumps me out is that Phoenix wasn't mentioned.
Phoenix is good.
And they're saying that Cincinnati's Northern Kentucky Airport was 34th, Toronto Pearson 41, Houston Bush Intercontinental is 48, and Atlanta number 50. Wow. But where's Phoenix in that? I think that they've done such a great job with that airport and with all the great restaurants that they have now in there. Yeah. And I think and it runs like a top. Really, it's just they like a clock actually. I really like that airport.
Well, if you like flying, like this kind of flying, small airplanes, not a lot of people. There's a company called Surf Air, a lot of you've heard of Surf Air, that offers a membership flying program where you can fly all you want for a set price.
Per month, right?
Per month, right? And so it's a kind of air travel membership company is what they call themselves. Well, anyway, Surf Air is celebrating their 5th anniversary. Hard to imagine they've been around that long. And they're doing a special limited time only promotion for the celebration. Beginning this month, the first 5 people to refer 5 new customers to Surf Air, they get a free year.
Wow.
That's a pretty good deal. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's really good that you can fly from Santa Barbara to, is it San Jose?
It's,
a lot of people do, yeah.
And
then they go out
Hawthorne,
to,
and you know, you go to secondary airports.
You're right.
But it's really good. And for a while they were tied in with Tesla. You could fly into an airport and then Tesla would give you a car. And, you know, it was a great deal. I don't know if that's still going on. Anyway, the promotion's for the basic membership, and it's for the California and Texas regions at Surf Air services. So if you want to find out more about that, check out Surf Air website. And I think that wraps up for travel news. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get on a bicycle and hightail it from Alaska to who knows where. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Around the World. I'm Martha von Wiesenberger, the beautiful Martha Bull in studio in our new little jet. You notice this jet is a little bit smaller.
It's a new compact.
You know what? We had to cut
Better
some corners.
gas mileage.
Yeah. It's actually an electric jet. No, it isn't. In our dreams. Well, there's one way you can travel that really is gas-free, and you know what that is?
We'll find out in a second.
On a bicycle, yeah. But you know, most of us travel around. If we go on bicycles, we might go down to the corner store, get some stuff
like
at the deli or whatever.
Yeah.
How about a really big adventure? How about if you traveled from Alaska to Mexico?
Yeah, I was thinking about that for next week, but
you don't think you're going to do it? Well, one man has, and this man is a true adventurer and also a Book Excellence Award finalist for his book called Downhills Don't Come Free: One Man's Bike Ride from Alaska to Mexico. Jerry Holl. Hello, Jerry. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Arthur, and I'm looking forward to being on your program, and same with you, Martha.
Your book is such an amazing read because it's kind of inspirational. I mean, for a guy like me who, my adventure is to get up in the morning, just make it to breakfast. But you decided to take the bull by the horns and do something I don't know anyone's ever done this before. Tell me what inspired you to do
exactly.
Well, I mean, every day started feeling the same to me. I was 57 years old at the time. I felt like I was slipping into kind of a staleness and toward mediocrity. And I don't know about you guys, but I hate mediocrity. So I knew I needed change. I wanted something different. But I knew it wasn't just sort of changing careers, because I'd been in the corporate world for over 30 years, and I knew the corporate culture, and that all started feeling like the demeanor was similar among the different roles I'd have. So I wanted something so totally different, something I'd never done before. And I resigned, and within 30 days, I was on a flight to Alaska, because I determined that I was going to pedal a bicycle from Alaska to Mexico, solo and unsupported.
Have you been? Wait.
Were you a bike rider?
Have you been in
that?
training? I mean, is this something you were prepared for?
I had not trained. No, I did not train. I am not a distance cyclist. I was a novice. I didn't know how to change a flat. I didn't know how to fix my bike. I didn't know any of that. But what I knew is that I knew I'd run into problems, and I just have to trust my judgment to work my way through the problems as I ran into them. And so I just had confidence that I could figure it out as I went.
Wow.
Now, can I just ask you, my biggest problem with bikes is my butt hurts. And so, I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like to be on a bike for that many days, for those many miles.
You get calluses, don't you, after a
Well,
while?
I was wondering when that would come up in the program.
Leave it to me.
Very early on, apparently, right?
We're getting right to the heart of that, aren't we? But yeah, as a matter of fact, I didn't have any training. I didn't have the calluses. I didn't have a conditioned rear end, if you will. Yeah. And I thought I was going to escape it, because, 4 or 5 days into the journey, I still wasn't having any problem. Then about day 6, the shaping and the wearing and everything else came into play. And so I was sore, and I was sore until about day 25. And then I toughened up by that point. And then after that, it was free sailing. But yeah, I think it's unavoidable, really.
Right.
I mean, you look at these mountains in Alaska, and just fathoming going over a pass would be just heartbreaking to me.
Well, it's pretty daunting. And you look at it, and what was really interesting is when I was flying from Minneapolis to Anchorage, for the last 3 hours of my flight, it was a crystal clear day. I was looking out the window, and all I saw was glaciated, deep mountain wilderness, and I couldn't see any roads or anything below. And all of a sudden, the first time, I thought to myself, am I going to have to actually ride through this stuff? And so you do the math, and you say 3 hours at 500 miles an hour. It's greater than 1,500 miles, and that segment itself. And all of a sudden, for the first time, I said, oh my God, what the hell have I signed up for? And it's because it became a visceral visual looking out the window as to what you were really about to attempt. And before that, it was just sort of bravado to my buddies. Yeah, here's what I'm going to do.
Wow.
And you had no support. You had no, because normally when bike riders do treks like this, they usually have like a support system, like a car that follows you that has the first aid, and they have the stuff to fix the bike and whatever. And you were solo?
I was completely solo, completely unsupported. I had the panniers on the bike and whatever I had with me, and just my own mind is to try and work myself through the problems. And like I say, I'd never done this before, and I didn't really have the skills to fix anything. But I had a confidence that I could just do it. And instead of overthinking about it, over planning, over training, I said, what the hell, I'll have time to get in shape along the way. So I just went.
I noticed that you also had next to your water bottle on your bike a can of bear spray. Did you? How'd that help out?
Well, it probably is more a psychological benefit than it is a physical benefit, but you got to have something, because where I was, the first question everybody asked me was, are you bringing a gun? And you, outside of Alaska, all through Canada and down the whole West Coast, you can't have a gun. So the net of it is, bear spray is what I had to have. Plus, it's probably have a better chance of putting up a cloud and hoping that you'd have a little semblance of a chance to get away. But it was a psychological thing, and yes, I had it in one of my water bottle holders as I rode, and obviously hoped I never had to use it. And in some ways, through a few parts of LA that I rode through, I thought maybe I even needed that bear spray more there than I did up in the
right.
That's exactly what I was thinking. How many days did it actually take you?
I thought this was going to take me 4 to 5 months. I had no idea. I didn't plan out the distance. I didn't really plan out the route. I didn't know where I was going to stay. I didn't know how far I'd get each day or where I'd stay each night. I would just flop in the bush and camp. And it ended up taking me 51 days. And I pedaled 43. And what it really shocked me is that I thought I was capable, but I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd crank it out like that. And it's not because I'm that great. It's that I think we all have things in us that we don't give ourselves credit for, that you all have so much more that you're not using. And this was a really good demonstration of that.
Wow.
Well, I'm
That's amazing.
very impressed.
Folks, the book is called Downhills Don't Come Free. It's one man's bike ride from Alaska to Mexico by Jerry Holl. It's available by Wise Inc. Publishing. And terrific read with some great photographs. You know, one of the things thing about that bear spray, I almost thought you might have needed it when you went to Elmer's in Orchid, which is a little interesting. Can you tell our folks what happened in Elmer's?
Yeah, I will tell you what happened in Elmer's. I was kind of in the central coast of California, but I was inland because 101 moves inland. And it was blistering hot. It was about a 100-degree day. And I was about 50 miles into the ride. I really didn't have a decent breakfast at all. And I was starving for lunch. And then I came in to Orchid, and I saw that I could kind of come about a half mile off the road and go up into town, and there's a burger malt joint. And I said, oh, perfect. And so there were the burgers and the malts, and I had one. And then I look up the street even further, and there is it's a Sunday afternoon, and there is a motorcycle gang. And there are the whole row of Harleys, 50 Harleys packed out front of this, of Elmer's, which is a little bar. And I just said to myself, I have got to go up there. This is too good. It's like a movie scene. I'm in my canary yellow jersey and my bikey shorts, and these guys have their sleeveless leathers on, tougher than hell, all of them outside smoking. They're drinking up a storm, and I had to go in. So I walked up the street, and when I went in, they looked me up and down, and I said, hey, guys. And it was kind of awkward, and then one of the guys said, where are you coming from? And I said, Anchorage. And all of a sudden, it took them completely by surprise, tilted the playing field in there, and there was a collective shout, whoa, Anchorage? Dude, can we buy you a beer? And I said, yeah. And so what they did is I got a pint of Bud, and it was like a John Wayne scene in a Western movie, and I shot the pint of Bud all in one deal, and I slammed the glass on the wood counter, and I looked at it and I said, gotta go, boys. I'm 50 miles in. I got 50 more miles to go. And I strutted out of there like a bullfighter and knew not to look back because it would ruin the moment, but it was like a movie scene. And all of a sudden, these guys who you think are tougher than hell, and they are, all of a sudden, be safe, dude. Have a great ride, dude. And that's awesome, and all that kind of stuff. And it was just the funniest scene you could ever imagine.
It's amazing.
And you had to create that yourself. I mean, it's kind of like, I just thought it'd be a funny situation. I went in there not knowing what would happen. I just wanted to see what would happen.
Well, you've got some great scenes throughout this whole book. It's a wonderful read, really fun read. And you know, we don't have time today to talk about your latest adventure, but will you come back on and share with us about what happened at Mount Everest?
I would love to share Mount Everest with you, and I just want your listeners to know that I'm an ordinary guy. I'm not a Navy SEAL or an Iron Man or any of that kind of stuff. Ordinary people can do extraordinary things. Go make it happen. Take action. Don't overthink it. Don't overplan it. Take your dream and run with it. And just run at it and trust yourself. Trust your judgment.
Yay
Great
for
words.
you.
Great words.
Yay.
Thank you, Jerry Holl. What an
Thank
inspiration.
you.
Our optimist. I love it. All right.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Arthur and Martha, and I look forward to coming on again if it works out for you guys.
We love
Perfect.
it. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jerry Holl. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to keep on traveling now to London, England. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Unity Shop, celebrating 100 years of guiding low-income families to self-sufficiency. In times of disaster, no one responds to families in need like the Unity Shop. immediate assistance with food and clothing, and long-term assistance providing anything disaster victims need to get back on their feet, all with compassion, with dignity, for as long as you need us. To find out more, log on to unityshop.org.
Back to Around the World. I'm Arthur von Wiesenberger. This is Martha Bull on board our little plane. Thank you for tuning in and watching us. By the way, we're every week on TVSB, channel 17 in Santa Barbara, California. Also on the web at www.atw.tv and on YouTube at the Nipper VW channel. It's Nipper VW. You can watch all past episodes. This is, believe it or not, season 20.
I know.
That's 20 years of this show. She started when she was in a crib.
Oh, yeah.
And this is episode, I think, 16 or 17. I don't know.
Of this year.
Of this year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, and by the way, we don't have Rebecca Brand with us on this flight, but you can catch her in past episodes and future ones. Rebecca Brand Recipes is also a great place to go to figure out all about cooking, and the Iron Chef, as she is known, and Dialing for Dollars, which is her new show that she's doing on Adult Swim.
Dialing for Dollars.
Have you watched that yet?
No, I haven't.
It's fun. It's fun. Alrighty. So Martha just came back from England. Jolly good as part of your European tour.
Yes.
And it was kind of a birthday trip, wasn't it, for somebody?
Well, yeah, it was sort of celebrating both of our birthdays.
Yep.
We met some friends over in London.
How'd you get to London?
We flew, yeah, interesting you asked that. So we flew Norwegian Air.
That's supposed to be the best discount airplane out
Yeah,
there.
it was discount.
Not good?
Yeah, and we were in the front of the plane, and you know the seats were just uncomfortable enough
You couldn't sleep.
that you couldn't sleep. You know how
So they won't recline all the way.
They won't recline all the way, and the legs just enough where it
You're
kills your
dangling.
back. Yeah,
I hate that.
But really, it was a beautiful plane. It was a 787 Dreamliner, so it was clean and lots of bathrooms. The food they would serve in these little cardboard boxes, and the food wasn't that good. It was
Norwegian food, right?
It was just kind of odd, weird.
And so you would not do it again?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
So Norwegian, it's thumbs down.
We came back on American Airlines out of Heathrow to LA, and we actually flew on a 777, and they have those great pods.
I saw the pictures. I remember you sending me pictures, making me very jealous.
But that was really nice.
Pillows
I think,
and all kinds of cushions and
I
stuff.
didn't sleep much on the plane back because, you know, if you fly during the day, you're not going to sleep.
No.
But it was very comfortable. Watched, I think, 5 movies.
They all blend together
Yeah,
afterwards.
right.
You don't know
I
what
got
you
off
really
and
saw.
I'm thinking, what movies did I see? And I have to tell you, coming through customs, we landed early. Coming back, we were out of the Tom Bradley airport, out of that terminal, before clearing customs, getting our bags and everything before the plane was even supposed to land.
Wow.
Customs was super easy. You know, they have these machines now where, you know, you put your passport in, they take a picture.
Are you global
No,
entry?
no.
Not even global entry. Wow. Because global entry is supposed to help you move
No,
faster.
this was super fast.
Well, that's good to hear
Yeah,
because it
really
used to
good.
be forever.
No, believe me, I know. But anyway, it was great.
So you got all the drugs through.
I did.
Oh, well done.
And all the Cuban cigars, and,
There you go.
and all the plants and everything.
Plants
But anyway, so we flew in. We flew into Gatwick, which is supposedly a little closer than Heathrow. Took a train, and I felt as though when we got off the train, I felt as though we had walked, because to get off the train and get to a taxi through the Gatwick, through the London station at I can't remember where it was. Anyway, it took forever, and you know you're dragging your bags, you're tired, so we ended up taking a cab back to the. Because we weren't going to do
Never
it.
take a
Yeah,
train.
no, it wasn't. But I mean, it was super simple. I mean, you just jumped on the train.
Right.
I mean, if we didn't have these big bags and everything, because we were going to be gone for 12 days. But we stayed at the Dorchester Hotel, which is a beautiful hotel in just
on Park Lane.
Exactly. You used to live.
I used to live across the street.
Yeah, exactly.
At the other place.
Yeah.
45 Park Lane.
And it's beautiful. They had just redone the hotel, and very elegant.
Do you feel like you were in the Middle East?
Not at all.
Really?
No.
Because normally the place
No.
is just packed with
I
Middle Easterners.
was totally expecting that. I mean, there were a lot of Lamborghinis when we first arrived, and you could tell that was probably people from not the area.
You had the squiggly plates on there, right? You couldn't. right? Not the London plates on those. On those
I didn't
Lamborghinis.
pay. I was just looking at these wild-looking cars.
Yeah.
I mean, some exotic cars. There was one that we saw a McLaren parked one night. We saw a Mercedes, beautiful car. I mean, the cars in London. I'm thinking the way they drive and the number of people there, and it's amazing how many beautiful cars there are driving. And but you know, everything's so simple there with the taxis, and the taxis are so clean. And our hotel, like I said, the Dorchester is very subdued, very elegant, very, you know, it was a beautiful hotel. The first night we ate at a place called China Tang, which is just off the main little promenade in the hotel. And unfortunately,
I know that restaurant.
And we were tired. We met our friends.
How was it?
It was okay.
Oh.
But they didn't understand anything that we were saying when we were ordering.
You need to learn some Chinese.
Yeah, I mean, literally, there was nobody there that spoke much
Ni
English.
hao ma.
But the food was good. One night we went and saw Young Frankenstein, the show.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. Well, yes. And it's a Mel Brooks produced play. A little bit wondering if it was going to be any good. It was hysterical, absolutely hysterical. I would highly recommend it.
Do they have any named actors in it?
No.
I mean, like Peter Boyle, obviously. Was in it.
No. It was super duper. And we ate. I mentioned that our friends actually were staying at the Dorchester the first night, and it was so hot in their room they couldn't get the air conditioning to work. So they decided the next day to move to the Mandarin Oriental, which had just opened. It had undergone a £185 million renovation, and literally it opened the day before they checked in. And by the next week, the hotel had caught fire and is closed again. But it was the most elegant, beautiful hotel, great service. We ate one dinner there at a restaurant. It's a 2 Michelin star restaurant called Dinner.
Good name.
Dinner. And it was probably one of the most fantastic dinners we've ever had. Really fun. I mean, like when we...
Is this it?
That's actually just a pastry shop.
Well, that was good too.
And everything, you know, in the olden days, you always think of London kind of having not such great food.
No, except for Indian food, it was not very exciting.
But it was super duper, and I mean, just it was a great. I mean, and I'm sad that
we're seeing the
so
changing
yeah,
of the
we
guards,
did. So
right?
we did we did some touristy things, and we decided to actually join a tour group and go see the changing of the guard, which I would recommend if you're going to do that. You want to sign up with the tour group because they know exactly where to place you, because you start at St. James Palace and then you move up the boulevard towards Buckingham Palace, and then so they'll know exactly where to place you so that you see all the highlights of the changing of the guard. And I think it happens 3 or 4 times a week, and it really super duper fun. It was great, and they also, you got to get a lot of background information on it and a lot of history about. Apparently there was an apartment that was just sold right on the main boulevard going to Buckingham Palace.
Right, the mall.
The mall. £350 million for this apartment in this really nice building. 350.
Should be a nice building.
But apparently the person never even saw it before they bought this £350 million apartment.
Wow.
Yeah. But we did some shopping, went around to some various places. We went to Selfridges, which I had not been to before. I always go to Harrods. And Harrods, I think, is a little bit passé now, and Selfridges has really, moved its way up, and they've got, lots of great shopping. They have, lots of designers. They have like the great wine store, food store. I think they have food store. Great cosmetics. They even have a Rolling Stones section where you can buy Rolling Stone memorabilia and Rolling Stones T-shirts and all sorts of stuff like that. But yeah, that was super duper fun. We went to a Indian restaurant. Let me see if I can. This one was a 1-star rated one called Jamavar. And we did that the night before we went to the show, and that was good, but hot. Oh my goodness, it was so hot. We also we went to the Tower of London. I had wanted to see the jewels, but it turns out the Tower of London has the crown jewels, not the jewels that they.
Oh.
And so I was a little. I mean, it was great seeing it. It's a beautiful, so historic, and the crown jewels are great, but that's not exactly what I was looking for. And it's way out. I mean, it's like half an hour by cab out towards not London Bridge. the Tower Bridge.
Right.
Yeah. And we had a great little lunch at the Wright Brothers, which is sort of in Hyde Park, which was fun. It's a kind of a French restaurant, lots of oysters and lots of good food like that. And let me see if there's anything else that I definitely want to mention here, because I've got my little notes.
And how about the pricing?
It's not cheap.
No, London's never been
No,
cheap. It's still not cheap, right?
No. No.
Did you buy anything? Did you bring back anything?
I bought.
Where's my gifts?
I bought a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes on sale at Selfridges, and that's about all I bought. But yeah, it's definitely expensive. We went down to Spain. From there, we flew down to Malaga, which is in southeastern Spain. Big difference in prices.
So then we're going to do Spain.
Then we'll do
in
Spain.
The coming months, or
I mean,
coming
I love London. It was really, really fun, but. You know, if you're looking for fun and less expensive, I definitely would say Spain.
And actually, London on a budget is not much fun. I've done that.
Probably not.
I lived there on a budget. It was that was painful. Well, Martha, that sounds great. Thank you for sharing all that, and we can't wait to hear about your Spanish adventure.
Yeah.
Did you have Spanish fly while you were there?
No.
Never mind. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to go on to an adventure in Italy. Actually, the next half of the show is all about Italy.
Okay.
We're going to find out the best town for eating. It's got more Michelin-starred restaurants than anywhere else in Italy, and I bet you've never heard of this town.
I bet I haven't.
All right, so we're going to find out about that and much more in this edition of Around the World. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Every morning you could count on it being there with the rise of the sun. We're proud to say we've been there every day with you. The Santa Barbara News Press plans to continue sharing the news of the day with you all through the year and beyond. It's nice to know there are some things you can still count on. The Santa Barbara News Press, serving Santa Barbara since 1855.
Welcome back to Around the World. Boy, oh boy, am I getting jet lag yet? No, because we're in our special little jet going through the globe really fast.
We are.
Not like private jet air travel, especially when you're on the ground. Anyway, somebody who knows a lot about travel, and especially a new kind of travel, more interactive, more experience travel, as opposed to just sitting there and being on the receiving end of a tour bus, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Explorateur Journeys is the place to go, and we've got the CEO of Explorateur Journeys joining us, Gabriella Ribeiro. I hope I pronounced that right. Welcome aboard. How are you, Gabriella?
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you, and you did pronounce it well. Very well done. Appreciate it.
I'm just lucky today, I guess. But I think people are really lucky when they get to go on board an Explorateur Journey. Tell us a little bit about the organization and how it's different from other operators and travel groups.
Yeah, I've been traveling all my life. My father was in travel, and I had a very blessed childhood. So, I was able to experience things, on a real micro level. And I've always enjoyed getting out and meeting people and not being afraid, when I go around the world. And the more open you are, the more incredible and immersive your travel becomes. And it just became a natural fit for me to start, sharing these journeys and curating them for people in the ways that I have come to experience them, where you're tasting, touching, feeling, smelling, and experiencing a destination as opposed to just being a passive traveler. So that's what we do.
So if I want to come and taste, smell, and sniff around, where's an experience that would be different from what you'd normally hear about? What's a destination that you think is really good for that?
Sure. Well, what's really great is, we do a lot of South Africa, and I know it's a long haul, but it really is a journey that changes your life. And there's different ways to do it. Of course, safari is just incredible on all of the senses, but we do things like, for example, visiting Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned. You're actually taken around as a guide who also was imprisoned there, so telling you the story from his perspective is just incredible. Or going into the home of a local and going shopping with her and making beautiful Cape Malay specialties in her kitchen and sitting down and enjoying a meal and learning about her experience, in life in South Africa. On the ears, we've got beautiful journeys in Italy. For example, we work with a partner that's very close with Andrea Bocelli, so he can arrange access to a private concert, and you can actually dine with Andrea Bocelli at his table.
No, seriously?
Yeah, so
wow.
Taking kind of like the traditional travel experience and turning it on its head is kind of what we like to do.
All right, so tell me, if I want to dine with Andre, what's that going to cost me?
Right.
Dinner with Andre.
Well, it really depends. I mean, everything we do is custom crafted. So, there is no package kind of standard that we do. We really listen to everybody's needs, personalities, types of hotels that they want, and we put together a complete experience so that you're met right when you get off the plane to the time where you're leaving, and somebody brings you to the airport and brings your bags right to the gateway. That's kind of what we do. So it really depends on all of the other elements that people want to include in that.
I like the sound of this already. Yeah. It goes with our private jet here on board. So you can set up experiences that are really off the beaten trail. I mean, what are some of the other interesting people that you could set us up with?
We have, it's interesting. People like to do things like, you said private jets. We actually have access to a whole fleet of private yachts, for example, in Croatia. And a lot of people don't think Croatia ahead of time, but I mean, it's 1,200 islands, the most divine food. It's very affordable. And to charter a private yacht in Croatia is a fraction of the cost of what it might be if you did that in France or Italy or the like. So we try to, find out what people want and figure out different ways to do it according to their budgets. Another product we have that I'd love to tell you about is something called the 48-hour power jaunt, which is actually the trip of a lifetime in just 2 days on the ground in any city around the world. And that's perfect for people who are just have crazy schedules, or maybe only have a Tuesday to a Thursday to travel, or would actually go to London or Paris or Rome or whatever for the weekend. We actually create these journeys where you actually can experience the city in an incredible way, even if you just have a very compact amount of time.
Well, can you give us
it's exhausting.
Yeah, can you give us an example of a city that would be unique?
Absolutely. Yeah, I just actually sent someone to Bilbao in Spain. So they flew to Bilbao on a Friday, arrived Saturday. So they were able to do sort of like a crawl, a tapas bar crawl. They had a little bit of a city tour. They were able to go to San Sebastian and visit the beach. At night, they had dinner in a room that housed a private art collection, and they were able to experience some more tapas that were handmade. The next day, they went to a wine and cheese farm, and they were able to help make olive oil and cheese and taste all sorts of wine and have a beautiful divine lunch with this woman who whose family has owned this vineyard for centuries and centuries. Do a little bit of partying at night. There was a little bit of nightlife involved, and then they were back on a plane Monday back to New York.
That's an amazing weekend.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
It would almost be fun to do that like 3 different places, so you really get a feel for.
Yeah.
But you'd be exhausted at the end.
Yeah.
You would, but it's I think the adrenaline keeps you going, and just being able to meet these people and taste these foods, and I think it's you wind up realizing that you have plenty of time in your life to sleep, but this is this beautiful experience is something you really should give it your all with.
It really is more of an American type of experience, because Europeans, they go away for a month for vacation.
Right.
We get two days off and we figure that's a vacation, right?
Yeah.
And this is it. And I was noticing so many people were that was the biggest challenge when I would kind of find a client and they would say, well, I just don't have enough time. And I said, okay, well, let me show you what's possible. And it's something that's really taken off for time challenged travelers.
Other destinations right now that you think are up and coming that people might want to consider if they're going to be doing something unique?
All right. Iceland is definitely should be top of mind. There is so much airlift from so many points in the United States. It's unbelievable. The fares are generally always inexpensive, except for New Year's. And Iceland, for a small island, it really packs a huge punch. So you've got, nature. There's a little bit of wildlife. You have, especially if you go in the winter, you can find the northern lights. There's hot springs. There's just so much to do. And it generally is you can get a quite affordable tour, a guided tour, which is the best way that we would recommend experiencing Iceland for the first time. So that's a big one. East Africa is, when kind of like sick, it was up and down, but now we can't sell enough of Kenya and Tanzania, which is, just amazing safari experiences. And Vietnam, get a lot of interest in Vietnam.
Wow. Yeah.
That's definitely at the top of my bucket list.
All right. So people want to know more about Explorateur Journeys. What's your URL? How can they find you?
Sure, it's explorateurjourneys.com. If they want to learn more about the Power Jaunt, it's simply 48hourpowerjaunt.com, and the 4 and the 8 are the numbers, not spelled out.
Easy. All right. Well, Gabriella, thank you for these great insights, and I'm ready to have my dinner with Andre. Personally.
There you go. Okay.
You got me tempted now.
You'll have to sing for your dessert, though.
I know. All right. Thanks so much, and we wish you happy travels, and maybe we'll get you back again on the near future. Thank you.
Perfect. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, I guess we're going to take another break, but I'm ready to go on an exotic trip.
Okay.
But how about if I take you somewhere really different? Should we go down to Sardinia?
Okay.
I mean, in Italy, it's not 48 hours. I want to go there for 48 days.
Yeah, I was going to say, who wants to come
We're going
home?
to find out more about that coming up next on Around the World. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Colossus of Rhodes, the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Just tune in to the award-winning travel show Around the World, live on Thursdays on AM 1290 and at www.atw.tv, with rebroadcasts on Thursdays at 8 p.m. and again on Saturdays at 10 a.m. for the only list that really stands out and can stand the test of time.
Back to Around the World. Well, you know, Martha, when I go traveling, I like to sometimes not have to think about it. You know,
That's what we did on our trip.
That's a good thing.
Not
When
a
you
whole
can
lot
just
of
kind of
planning.
let everything happen
Yeah.
and you just sort of mellow out. And there's no easier way to go. I mean, you can do that on a cruise ship. That's pretty much just sit back and let them feed you. Which maybe not what you want to do.
Yeah.
But the other way you can do it is go to an all-exclusive resort where all the meals, all the drinks, everything is part of your overall package. You don't have to think about going out to dinners and making reservations and all that. You just eat
Right.
and drink and
Be merry.
be merry. Well, most of the time, most of those all-inclusives, kind of, hit and miss as far as food. I mean, I've been to someone once in Jamaica, and it's like, it's a good place to diet.
Yeah.
Right? But there's one place that I've been to, it's the ultimate all-inclusive resort.
Okay.
And it's in Italy, which of course says it all right
Yeah,
there.
right.
Not
You
only is it
can't
in
go
Italy,
wrong.
it's in Sardinia. Now, Sardinia is one of the most beautiful islands in the world. It is spectacular. It's in the cleanest part of the Mediterranean. When you go into the water in Sardinia, you step into crystal clear waters, and warm and beautiful, and the air is it's like Hawaii in a way. And on top of that, you get the great Italian food, the great Italian wine, and the great Italians. I mean, you got it all right there. So it's a really spectacular destination. This place was originally founded by Sir Charles Forte, who was one of the great hotel operators, British hotel operators in the world. And I think he fell in love with Sardinia, and he fell in love with this land. He got a big piece of land in the southernmost tip of Sardinia.
Okay.
And he developed what is called Forte Village, F-O-R-T-E Village. It is spectacular. You fly, the best way to get there is probably flying to Rome, Fiumicino Airport, and then you can get a little jump across, and a little jet. To
Bigger than our plane?
Bigger than this plane, yeah. And you go into the airport, which is I think Cagliari in southern Sardinia, and it's about probably 25 minutes from the airport, pretty close. And you arrive through these gates, and you realize you've arrived in a village because they've got more than 5 hotels. They've got well, hang on, I can give you the specs if you want to know. 7 hotels, I stand corrected, or I said corrected. Over 20 restaurants in Forte Village.
Do you get to choose from all?
Yeah, you can go wherever you feel like.
Nice.
For dinner, some are obviously Italian, and there's Mediterranean, there's French, there's every kind of nationality. Probably one of the great things that I found, and you'll see it in this video, is the thalassotherapy pools. They have these natural, they're mineral pools with ocean ingredients in them for all kinds of different physical things. I mean, you feel incredible. I spent a lot of time there because I
Did
kept
you have
feeling.
your head underwater?
Oh
Did
yeah,
that
yeah.
help?
You'll see. I mean, they have seawater. It has minerals in it. They have specialty pools. It's supposed to help your skin. Anything wrong with your skin, physical ailments. I mean, this is amazing. But it's not like you're in a hospital. You're in a really cool spot. Yeah, Alitalia has direct flights, LA to Rome through the summer. By the way, you can fly from LA at 3:40 in the afternoon. You get into Rome at 12:40 the next afternoon, and then you can get that puddle jumper Rome to Cagliari, which is pretty good. Let's see, what else is there? There's a children's wonderland, which is great if you're with little kids. So this is a family resort. I went there with my son, and he had a blast. Yeah. But you can go there with little kids, medium kids, or grandkids if you want, whatever. There's Leisureland, which they have go-karts, so you can go racing. Yeah. You know, I didn't do that. I wanted to do that. I ran out of time. There's they have a thing called sports academics, and this is where if you want to learn soccer, for example, right now with the World Cup going on, a lot of people want to know more about soccer. You can go there and learn how to play soccer.
That's cool. I mean, actually,
and with pros, really good stuff. They have nightclubs, discos, shopping, and in July,
big is this place?
It's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge. And on July 26th, Sting is going to perform there.
Of course he is.
Yeah. So I mean, it's got a little bit of everything for everybody. But we have a video. This is I shot when I was there a while back. So let's take a look at the video of Forte Village in Sardinia.
Sardinia is the second largest island in the Mediterranean Sea. The easiest way to get there from the U.S. is to fly to Rome, where Alitalia has regular flights to Cagliari, the capital. Southern Sardinia is wilder, more natural, and less glitzy than the northern coast. Here in the south are pine forests, perfect beaches, sand dunes, and even wild flamingos. Over 100 acres along a magnificent white sandy beach, it is the home to Forte Village, a vast resort with 7 hotels and over 20 restaurants.
So you came from the main entrance, voila, straight on to the main reception, and now through the main road we arrive at the castello. Okay, we are here now.
When the sun sets, the Piazza Maria Luigia comes alive with an open-air stage and top performers. Throughout the piazza are designer stores with clothing, jewelry, resort logo products, lots of great ways to spend your money. One of the more unique features at Forte Village is the Thalasso de Forte. What is, you may ask, thalassotherapy?
Okay, this thalassotherapy is therapy in seawater therapy. Okay, If you go in seawater, you know it's only water, but you have oligo elementi, okay, mineral salt, okay, in particular sodium salt and magnesium salt. In number one full seawater, okay, you if you go you look yellow, no? Yellow. It's magnesium salt. It's high density salt. In Forte Village, if you go to 3 different water, okay, at 3 different temperature. Cold temperature, high temperature. High density salt, slow density salt. It's normal density salt. In number 3, if you go to sodium salt. In number 1, number 2, magnesium salt. In number 3, sodium salt. Okay? It's different for saline.
Have a fresh pizza made to order, cooked in the wood-burning oven and served oceanfront. The water is so clear that scuba divers and snorkelers have stunning vistas, and there are even ancient Roman ruins to explore at nearby Nara. There are experts to help one learn a new sport and guide one to maximizing their days while at the village.
Hungry? Let's go over there. That's Forte Village in beautiful Sardinia, in the southern part of Sardinia. And again, it's open all through the year. It's a wonderful time to go there right now, and of course in the fall as well. I can't believe it. We got to cool our jets. It's been a great show, Martha, and thank you so much for being here. We also want to thank our director, Michael Nicholson, and our editor par excellence, Ken Baxter. Next week on Around the World, we're going to be going to some exotic places, so make sure you tune in every week here on TVSB and also on AM 1290, the Santa Barbara News Press radio station. And in the meantime, we wish you all happy trails.
Thank you for traveling with us today on Around the World. We hope you'll join us for another adventure next week. In the meantime, all of us at Around the World wish you Happy trails.